British lawmakers are voting to force Prime Minister Theresa May to ask the EU for another extension to exit the European Union. Ashley Webster with the very latest right now. Ashley.
We go around and around and around we go. Nothing much has changed other than, yes, there is a bill that whizzed its way through the House of Commons yesterday that basically telling Theresa May that she must go to the European Union and ask for an extension, which, by the way, the new deadline is a week from tomorrow. That went through the House of Commons. It's now in the House of Lords. It's kind of like the House and the Senate in the UK. Generally, nothing of interest ever happens in the House of Lords. So this is groundbreaking by itself, that they're actually debating this issue in the House of Lords and doing it quickly. Nothing quickly happens in the House of Lords. And now there's a belief that some Conservatives in the House of Lords are so upset with this whole process, they may filibuster. They may talk for hours and hours and hours to try and prevent this from going through. Bottom line is, OK, Prime Minister, go and ask for another deadline from the EU. Doesn't mean the EU is going to give it to them. What's interesting is this whole affair has not really moved forward in nearly 3 years. You can't come to a majority, a consensus on what the plan is to get the heck out of the EU. What's interesting, though, is there's a new poll out in the UK today. It says 83% of UK citizens sick of talking about Brexit. 64% believe it's harmful to their mental health. I think we can all agree with that. But it's certainly... And another interesting angle to this, Maria and gang, there are 10,000 riot police that have been undergoing extensive training in the last couple of weeks. They are ready to deploy in a heartbeat. That doesn't mean to say they're going to be needed, but there has been a ramping up of emotions. The number of crimes related to Brexit has doubled in the last 2 weeks. Not a huge amount, but there are incidents where harsh rhetoric is now being translated into actual actions, and there's a concern that if this continues to drag on and the Brexit is not delivered as it was requested by the British people in that referendum, that things could spill onto the streets. So there's 10,000 riot troops ready to go. It's a little bit of a scare thing. Haven't been used, and so far it's been pretty civil, I have to say. But there's no doubt tensions and emotions afraid.
There are always people looking for a reason to loot.
Well,
aren't they, Ashley?
Certainly in France. You know, the Gilets jaunes move, there's always a small group of anarchists who will jump onto any cause just so they can smash up some shops.
And get what?
Get some free jeans. Get some stereo, get some free stuff. There's always that possibility.
That's Ashley's... What, East London accent?
Well, I hate to say, yes, but there are people who will jump on any cause just to create problems. So there is that kind of lurking in the background. Bottom line is, can Theresa May survive this? And it's, who knows? Who'd want her job right now?
But if she cuts a deal with the Labour Party...
With Jeremy Corbyn,
this is going to be either no Brexit or something that's very close to no Brexit.
Correct. It's going to be a very soft Brexit. And, you know, will Corbyn insist of a second referendum no matter what deal they make? The choice going back to the people saying, this is the deal we've got. Vote for this, or we forget the whole thing and stay in Europe. That could be the next move.
What will that do to the markets?
Uncertainty. Sterling has taken another hit. We know that it's funny, you know, the economic news out of Europe, German manufacturing again came out really poor.
Yeah, and Italy and Germany, GDP were cut.
This is not a good time economically for the EU, and certainly the UK has slowed down. None of this is good. Because of the uncertainty. Businesses aren't spending. Businesses don't know what to do, especially if you have a lot of exposure to the continent.
So this referendum that the people voted for, they voted for Brexit.
52 to 48%.
It's basically being ignored on the installment plan by the politicians.
There was always 70-something% of MPs voted to remain. And there's this strong belief that they will do anything they can to prevent it from happening. And one way to do that is to drag it out. Get the UK involved in the European Parliament elections coming up in May. If they do that, this thing gets pushed further and further and further down the line. And what happens is no Brexit. That is a fear. And
it's all having an impact across the world. I'm glad you mentioned the factory orders report out of Germany, because the Eurozone economic numbers do not look good. This morning, the GDP expectations for Italy and Germany were cut. Again, they're lucky to get 1% growth, if at all,
stagnant.
In the Eurozone.
Completely
that has to hit the U.S. at some point. No?
Of course it does. And, you know, no matter what you think of the EU, it's a huge trading bloc. It is enormous, and there's a lot of business done between the U.S. and the EU. So it is going to have an impact.
No, I was going to say, meantime, you have political candidates here in the United States pointing to Europe as kind of the gold standard. Right. I'm like, yeah, their economy can't grow. So, again, this is what socialism gets you.
There could be an upside for us. I was talking to one European bank CEO, and he was saying this, all of this debate and concern and uncertainty helps New York remain the world's financial center.
It does. It's the only game in town. And where are you going to put your money right now? I think U.S. equities look pretty good.
That's a good point. Are American businesses, the J.P. Morgans of the world, have they made a plan to stay in the U.K. or move some of their people to Germany? Or, you know,
there has been a lot of movement. Bank of America moved a lot of its employees out of the UK, out of London and to Dublin, to Ireland, because they'll remain in the EU.
I think that there's still, though, there's no obvious competitor in Europe. Whether, you know, Dublin, Frankfurt maybe has an argument, but I think London remains the European financial center just because of the tradition, rule of law. People want to operate there.
Hope so.
I think you're right.
And I think that's probably true regardless of what this deal is.
I think you're right.
Ashley, great stuff. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Ashley Webster with the latest thing.